All right, good afternoon all. Welcome to Eugene, the 9th stop on this year's Diamond League circuit and the 50th Prefontaine Classic. Yesterday we learned that this is Larry Eater's 40th. Can anybody beat that? No takers? No? All right, Larry, you're the champion. My name is Jeff Oliver. I'm the press chief for the Prefontaine Classic. If you have any questions on media operations for tomorrow, please find me after the press conference. But we're going to jump right into it. We have a lot of names, a lot of groups to get through today. The way it's going to work today is we're going to bring the athletes up in groups. They're going to be up here. They're going to for you guys to go out and do scrum style interviews. Please respect your fellow journalists and kind of share the opportunity to take questions. Those will be taking place while the next athlete group is going. So you kind of got to pick and choose where you want to be. Victim of our own success, we have so many good names, we just need to squeeze them all in. So with that, I would like to introduce Jody Smith, the co-meeting director of the Prefontaine Classic.
Thank you, Jeff, and congratulations, Larry, to celebrate with us this weekend. So on behalf of my colleague and co-meeting director, John Capriati, I want to welcome you to the 50th anniversary of the Prefontaine Classic. Our team has been working hard for more than a year in the planning of this very special edition. Working collaboratively with the Oregon Track Club, the University of Oregon, the cities of Eugene and Springfield, Lane County, Eugene's Cascades and Coast, and our extensive network of business partners, we have created a week-long celebration of the athletes, performances, and people that have made the Prefontaine Classic a meet worthy of the name. We would like to thank Peter Stosny and the Diamond League office for their help over the past months and in tomorrow's production. And we are grateful to Wanda and Omega for their support of all Diamond League meetings. Thank you to the broadcasters and the media outlets, especially NBC. The stories of these amazing athletes will be shared in 171 countries across the globe. We're also grateful to USA Track and Field, which has been a tremendous partner in supporting the athletes and their performances. And most importantly, we'd like to thank Nike, whose investment in the Prefontaine Classic and the sport of track and field is unrivaled. It is a testament to the spirit of Steve Prefontaine that the world's top athletes have once again descended upon Hayward Field at the University of Oregon. For 50 years, athletes have been at the heart of the Prefontaine Classic. We are honored to host them tomorrow in a packed house. The atmosphere inside Hayward Field will be magical, and we are excited to honor Pre by sharing that magic with the world. Enjoy, have a great time, tell the stories, get great shots, and with that, I'm going to hand it over to Paul to start the show.
Get this mic back in. All right, good morning, everybody. And yeah, I echo all the words from Jody. This is going to be a fabulous weekend. If you've just rolled into town, we've been having all sorts of activities. The All-Comers Meets, which are a fixture of Tracktown USA, starting us off on Wednesday, a night of miles yesterday. A few folks tackled the Butte to Butte this morning, the 10K road race, which is has been part of our 4th of July festivities, and just kind of the continuing celebration of running and track and field will be on full display tomorrow. I stand here on the shoulders of a lot of legendary voices that many of you have heard in the stadium over the years, going back to Wendy Ray, to the late Scott Davis, to Gary Hill, and obviously in more recent memory, myself, and then Rob Vermillion, Catherine Mary, and Sasha Spencer, trying to give you guys the flavor and helping to bring that magic to life, and proud to be back in the booth again this year to call some of the races in the stadium along with Sasha and Rob and Catherine. So with that, we're going to start with our first event of the groups that we have 6 in total. And we're going to start with what has been a signature fixture of this event dating back to the year 2000 when it was officially named the Bowerman Mile. And we've got a group of men coming in here to, as we often do, run very fast. But as you have heard recently, will not be the last event of the day, as we've made a slight shift in the schedule. And we'll have that group of women coming in a little bit later on in our program to talk about the 1,500 meters for women that will close out the program. But let's start by bringing them up. I see Grant Fisher in the house. He's our first to be introduced here, double bronze medalist from Paris. as we'll talk about one of the most prolific milers in track and field today. Hasn't run a mile since 2015, so we'll be talking about that as well. Right on cue, Yared Nuguse walks in the room. He's going to be brought to the front here. This is how it works. Yared, come on in. Bronze medalist from Paris, of course, the American record holder in this discipline, and it certainly will be a special moment for me, but also a special moment for the packed house at Hayward Field to welcome and introduce the reigning Olympic champion, the former Duck, Cole Hocker, who is joining us here as well. Yared, you're very efficient. You just like walk in and you're ready to go.
Yeah, I like to think I'm always just fashionably late. You know,
No, you actually were right on time. I mean, I guess we'll start with each of you and just, you know, as Jody Smith just talked about, you know, 50 years of Prefontaine and the heritage of this Bowerman Mile, just the feeling of being part of this special weekend, and not necessarily the last show of the day, but certainly one of those races that we always eagerly anticipate. And what's your feelings coming into this race?
No, yeah, I mean, I've always loved Pre. You know, I've been here, this is my third year now at Pre, and like my first one was where I ran, you know, 3:43 and ran that American record, and it was just really a magical time because I never really got to, you know, truly experience this meet for what it was. But, you know, it was just a really, really cool atmosphere, and, you know, one of the best meets in the U.S. for sure. So.
Yeah. And Cole, that will be, I assume, even though you're going to be focused on the job at hand, a pretty special moment for you to come back to this facility where you don the collegiate uniform and be welcomed as the Olympic champion. Have you thought about what that moment might mean for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it probably goes without saying how special it is to come back here. Like, I mean, this race is like the pinnacle in my mind of just this Hayward experience in this Oregon environment. Like, I feel like I've, you know, grown up so much from being a freshman at Oregon and being lucky to get into this race to now being, you know, I'm here and I'm competing. Like, it's been a very cool transformation, and it's always feels like full circle moment coming back.
And for Grant, it's, you know, we got you a race. It's maybe not the race you're used to running, but jumping into a mile. And again, it was 2015 the last time you ran a mile. 3:59, I think, is the PB. You've run a lot of 1500s, to be fair, but this is going to be a kind of a special one, and maybe that PB goes down. You want to make a bold prediction to start?
Yeah, I think if the PB doesn't go down, I'm in big trouble. So, yeah, it's been over a decade since I've run a mile, a true mile. So this will be fun. It'll be special. It'll be new. I feel like I don't really have anything to lose here. So that's a good feeling to have going into a race. And obviously, this is always an incredible field. This year's edition is just as strong as ever. So yeah, to come out here, 50th anniversary, you know, I've been a Nike guy my whole career, and, you know, everyone kind of thinks of a few people that have transcended the sport. Steve Prefontaine's one of them. I think all three of us up here, that's one of the first pro runners you learn about. So it's fun to be at the 50th anniversary of this. The marquee event is usually the mile. I wish there was a Prefontaine 5K maybe next year, you know, but I'll hop down to the mile and have some fun.
And sticking with you for just a second, I mean, we'll talk with Cole about this as well, but, you know, how did the success in Paris change this season in terms of, you know, what you were able to accomplish, and obviously like a different color in the next iteration of your trip to a major global championship, but, you know, the satisfaction and then how you kind of use that success to drive goals and objectives for this year?
Yeah, of course. You know, for all three of us up here, we had, you know, a dream year last year, but that's last year now. So I think we all came out swinging indoors, all three of us, and we've kept that momentum through outdoors. And, you know, you never know how long you have in the sport at your best. And I feel like all three of us are firing all cylinders right now. So want to take advantage of it and run fast, race the best people. So, yeah, I think sometimes people talk about, you know, a down feeling after an Olympic year or kind of a slump. I don't think any of us have felt that. We've been able to harness the momentum the best we could, and yeah, it puts us in a really good place to not only compete with other Americans, but compete with the best in the world. So that's what you're going to see tomorrow.
And Cole, I mean, this year is different in that, the tension that you were absorbing just to make the team at this time, basically, a year ago when the trials were held. Now everything's kind of shifted a bit, right? You got U.S. trials coming up in a month. World Championships aren't until September. So have you felt like you've been able to maybe not take it easy, but just a different mentality, different preparation method to this year?
Yeah, I think this kind of delayed season, I guess, kind of gave me that window to recalibrate, after 3-4 months following the Olympics were probably the busiest period of my life. And so running, you got to be 100% in on. And so that gave me that window to, regroup, readdress like what the goals were. And, like Grant was saying, like just build on that momentum. And yeah, I feel really excited right now. I feel like the season's now really getting going, which is funny to say in July. But yeah, just the season's build has definitely been a little bit different just because you want to peak in the middle of September and not the beginning of August. So yeah, I feel like I've been doing that as well as I can, and I'm excited for these next few races.
And Yared, do you want to try to not to reveal too much of where your fitness is at, given that you guys got to race some of these guys in a few weeks' time to make the team?
I mean, I think we all know that we're all going to be fit and ready for every race that we show up at. But, I think there's something about, like, just being able to come out to pre and just be able to run a mile basically as fast as you can and just kind of, do that because we don't get, like, a ton of opportunities like that here especially. But, just I think all of us are just kind of curious and just to see, how fast can we run this mile really. And, like, no matter what, we're all going to be fit at USA's. But, we're not going to run that fast at USA's.
Not that it's competitive all, but do you know the head-to-head stat between you and Cole? Who has the best overall head-to-head in any event?
Well, I think before last year, I was getting destroyed. But last year I made up some ground, but I think I'm still down. But that's not on the weighted system, so I don't know.
I was going to say, is he down? What am I?
You're 15-7 lifetime against Cole Hocker, but he's making up some ground. So.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Grant, pacing has sort of been announced. So they had the technical meeting, and it's out now. It's going to be paced to about projected 3:45-ish, but that last lap is, of course, going to be silly. You've shown some quick last laps in the last couple of races that you've been running here domestically. I mean, do you just sort of ignore how silly high your PB is, and do you feel like you're in fitness shape to run, close to that time, or how do you approach this? Because it's again, you haven't run it in a decade.
Yeah, certainly. You look at the start list and you see a 3:59 in there, and it's kind of like, what's that? How'd that guy get in the field? But yeah, I'm definitely not walking in thinking I'm a 3:59 guy. This is a big, strong field where I think there's going to be a lot of people in it still with 200 to go, and I hope to be one of those people. Get on the train and compete. Of course, this isn't my specialty, but I do feel like I still have the wheels, and I think a lot of the guys in this race will be watching each other a lot, sizing each other up. We're going into championship season now. I don't really have that the pressure to look around and evaluate how I feel compared to my competitors, because I won't really, I'm like a 10K, 5K guy, so it's a different group of guys that I'm eyeing up. So yeah, it frees me up a little bit. Maybe can spoil the party a little, get in there and see what I can do. But yeah, that PR is a decade old, so hopefully we can get rid of that.
And Cole, I think the stat still remains that Hayward Field is the site of more sub-4-minute mile performances than any other venue anywhere in the world. So it's part of the heritage of not just this event, but just the heritage of Hayward Field. Why do you think that mile distance is still such an iconic fixture of our sport when in fact we don't run it traditionally in our major global championships?
Yeah, well, I think it's fitting that it's 4th of July, and it's like, I feel like that's like America's race is the mile, so that's one good thing about this year. But yeah, I don't know. I've had a lot of my best races in Hayward, and I think, as a duck, like, it's natural. You're going to have the crowd behind you and all of that, but I really think everyone feeds off of that excitement of the crowd, and now this stadium is like meant for that. It's all on top of you, and I think everyone feeds off that Hayward magic.
And Yared, if it is America's race, America's had a little bit of trouble defending home turf here at the Bowerman Mile. It's been almost 20 years since an American won this race. I had to remind Bernard Lagat that it was him. He will be one of our heritage athletes here in town this weekend. But 4th of July weekend, people celebrating red, white, and blue. I suppose there's a little bit of extra incentive for you guys to put an American back on top. Would you agree?
No, yeah, I think I got another thing too that was like, people who like won the Wanamaker Mile and like Pre's Mile, Bowerman Mile has like, hasn't been done in a long time as well. And I feel like definitely with like me and Cole in the race, there's still going to be a lot of other people, competing for it, and like it's not going to be easy, but I'd say we have a pretty good shot at making that happen for sure.
Yeah. One race that you're eagerly anticipating watching that you're not in. As a fan, what would be the race of the day for you if it's not the Bowerman Mile?
I'm going women's 1500.
Yeah, I mean, same here. It's pretty hard to beat what they're trying to do in that.
I guess I'll say something different. I'll go the women's 100. I just love seeing Sha'Carri race. So yeah.
Yeah. Grant, we just make maybe one comment. We'll ask, obviously, Georgia and then Faith herself about the whole experience last week in Paris. You were kind of the designated wingman for Faith's attempt, and she seemed to really like the fact that you were going to be there to kind of help her along. Just talk about that experience for you and to be a part of it.
Yeah, it was a fantastic experience. It was super fun. To see Faith, I was steps away from her, to watch her go for it and go until the wheels came off. I mean, that's everything you can ask out of an athlete, everything you can ask out of yourself. So it was a cool experience to be there to support her. I was around people that I'm used to racing, and we were kind of teammates in that sense, where we were all part of the pace squad, helping one athlete go after a really, really big target. So it was a good time. Yeah, we tried out several formations with Faith and with different athletes around her, and she said she liked my stride. I think it was because I was the shortest one there. But she picked me to be the wingman, and her management team asked me to be very vocal with her during the race and give her encouragement. So I did my best of that. And it was a very inspiring effort out there. I think anyone watching will agree to that. And I think you'll see another special performance from her tomorrow.
Yeah, no question. So no resentment harbored by any of this group that Bowerman is not the last race of the day. You're happy to let Faith have the final word?
I mean, yeah, I don't mind. Honestly, I didn't even know it until you said it. So,
God, you're just on top of things. Yeah,
it's like I just deal with things day by day.
Right.
So I would figure out tomorrow.
Just show up to check in. Just maybe like 30 minutes before you were planning to. That would be
a little
great.
earlier. That's it.
All right. All right, I think with that, gentlemen, we're going to do a little photo op here first, if you get out of your chairs, and then we're going to send you out for the scrum. Thanks to our Bowerman Milers.
Reminder, if you want to be part of the one-on-one interview scrums, please go out the doors that say exit, come back in the door that says
Absolutely cracking way to start our 6 sets of events here on this Friday afternoon. And yesterday we didn't do anything about the throwing, but we're going to do that now because we're going to look at the men's throws next. And boy, do we always get a good lineup in the men's throws at Pre-Classic. Let me bring them up one by one. You can't miss them. They're taking out most of the back wall. Here we go. Let's go with the, come on, Leonardo Fabbri, you're at the front of the queue, the Italian. European champion, of course, in your own backyard in Rome last year. Rocking the combats. Who's next? Oh, look at him. Come on, Joe Kovacs, ladies and gentlemen. Twice the world champion, of course, with those stars and stripes. Look at him. Dad of twins. There we go, son. Enjoying the break. And then bring yourself up as well. Rajindra Campbell of Jamaica, our Olympic bronze medalist in Paris. Striding up with confidence, sir. The top 5 in the world rankings, if you look at the 2025 world rankings, are lined up for our men's shot put at Hayward Field tomorrow. 5-2, gentlemen, in the afternoon. Is that all right? 5-2, we're ready to rock and roll?
Yeah.
Are we happy, Joe? Let's start with you in the middle because we spoke to Christian Coleman yesterday, who's going for an historic three-peat in the men's 100 meters. Joe Kovacs, you're looking for the three-peat in Pre, and only 2 other throwers have ever done that, and I know you're going to know who they are.
Well, one has to probably be Reese. Is that?
That's correct. 2011 and 2014.
So, well, my other guess was going to be Cantwell, but
Yeah.
yeah, that would be good.
Christian
All right.
Cantwell. So would you like to add your
Gadina probably
name?
had a good streak too.
Good knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Good knowledge. Would you like to add your name to that list, sir?
I like to be. Anytime I'm on the list of those guys, it's an honor. It was cool for me to come here and see the poster of Reese, and I remember competing here with Reese. And just, you know, I'm the old guy on the circuit, and it's cool for me to see the eras come back, especially that Reese is here with his family now. So, yeah, if I could be in that list, I'd be pretty happy about that.
Are you here with your family? Have they traveled with you, Joe?
My wife's here. Wife and coach is here, Ashley. The twins are at home with my mom right now, my mom and stepdad. So they didn't have to do the travel for this trip, which this one's at least a quick turnaround. But yeah, we probably have a couple trips with them this year. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of bags we got to take when we bring the kids with us. I'm sure the parents know that. But yeah, family life has been awesome, and this trip is always a fun one to come.
Great to see you. Always at Pre. Leonardo Fabbri, last time we conversed, we were at the European Athletics Awards in North Macedonia. And you were there, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't see it, he was there in his black tie, his little dicky bow, these awards. And you burst
As you can see, I'm the fancy one.
And you broke into song. You were singing. And you had a brilliant year last year, so deservedly so. How you doing? Welcome to Pre.
Thank you. No, I'm very happy to be here. Last time here I took 22:31, but I came 4th. So hopefully I can do better. But yeah, I'm excited because the circle here is amazing, and my technique at the moment is very confident. So I hope for a big one.
Talk to me about your technique, because I was watching and went down a rabbit hole about you last night in terms of how you're saying a few of the other shot putters have kind of taken on my style. I'm not the biggest and the strongest guy. You lost a lot of weight a few years ago. So tell me, what is it about your technique that took you to that European gold medal and that, of course, the world silver that you had in Budapest as well? How would you describe your technique?
My technique is very complicated. I can go 23, but I can also go 20 like this. So you need to be very consistent in training and then competing a lot to bring that confidence into competition. And I don't know exactly how to explain in English. It's not easy for me, but you need a lot of mobility, flexibility, and speed. It's very important to be very fast with the foot on the circle. And that's it. I don't know. Maybe Joe can explain more than me.
Well, it's working.
He's
You're
older.
the world leader this year, exactly.
Many throws.
You were both nodding, Joe, and you, Rajindra, as well, in terms of what Leonardo was saying there in terms of the technique that you guys?
Well, I'll tell you, it all, when it comes to us, you guys, obviously know we're the strong guys. We're known as that part of the sport, but it comes down to we are a speed event. Angle of release, height of release. I'm not getting any taller. I wish I was as tall as him, right? But the height of release is
Give
the
it
height
time,
of
Joe. Give it
well,
time.
the height of release is height of release, and the angle of release is as far as I can rise my chest up. That makes sense. Everything else comes down to speed. It's velocity. It's the same equation you guys had in physics when you guys were in high school. So with those three factors, two of them are kind of stuck. So when he's saying speed, I think that's something, if you guys are watching us out there, we're really a speed event as well. So we're not just, even though we're not on the track, in that ring, we're trying to haul as fast as we can.
You were saying that. Yeah, speak up, Rajindra. Tell me, did you use speed to get that Olympic bronze in Paris last year? Was it speed-based?
I think after 23, I realized the importance of the strength as well, because my main philosophy is like, I don't need to be strong to throw far. I just need to be fast enough. But then again, when I went up against Joe in Memphis in August before I went to Budapest, and I realized how important the strength was. So after Memphis, I realized, after 2023, we went back and said, Coach, I need to get stronger. Finally got the bench up to about 470. So it's not quite as close to Joe, but it's enough to make a difference. So, but my main philosophy is be flexible, be fast, and punch hard.
I like that. Went a bit violent at the end there. The punch hard is in. You push that out.
Come down to how fast you can punch the ball. All of that setup is just to let it rip at the end.
7th in pre last year, Rajindra. What is it about Hayward Field that just brings out the best in male shot putters when they arrive at the pre-classic? What is it? Every single time you guys take the stage, you deliver something special at Hayward Field.
I think it's just the environment here. You guys are well knowledgeable on track and field. I think in most places, this is one of the places where, as a thrower, you feel appreciated. Like, they understand why we're here. They understand what it takes to be at top of the event that we're in. We have our own fans, which is good. They come there, they know exactly who you are. They pronounce your name properly. So, that's something that I enjoyed coming here last year. Didn't do too good, so I'm back to right that wrong.
4 medals for Jamaica in those Olympics as well. Was it 6 medals in total? 4 from the field. When you got back home, it must have been a kind of, hang on, we got 9 track medals in Tokyo, and then you pulled up a lot of trees, you guys, didn't you, at those Paris Olympics?
Jamaica has a talent there to be good in all the events. I think it doesn't matter of time before we become a lot more consistent in the field events. I mean, we've been doing good in jumps, long jump especially. Shot put, we had Odean Richards. We had before made us Odean Richards, and he was a bronze medal at the World Championship. So learning from him, he's about the same height as Joe, a little weaker, but he created a tradition there. We had the discus throwers, we had Frederick Dakers, Travis Michael, and they have global medals. So it wasn't hard to fit in there, especially. I might not look it, but I'm quite fast. I don't think you guys want to catch me in the 60.
How fast are we talking? What would you sprint over?
I could probably, not gonna exaggerate. I can probably do a 4840.
A 4840?
Yeah, at 310. Yeah, I got speed, But the idea is to put all that execute all that movement within 1.2 seconds, and that takes a lot more explosion. The faster I can move the weight in the gym, the more exposed I can be. The faster I can punch a ball, the further it goes. So Jamaica, we have the talent. We just need a structure to nurture that talent. And I think that's where we're lacking.
Guys, what are we talking? There's some speed there. Joe, what are you clocking in at?
I don't know. I think as I just turned 36, my speed times may went down. My strength numbers went up, but I do a lot of chasing of our kids running around the house, so I still have some pep in my step when I need to. But I mean, I'll tell you, over my career, and I've had a long one, throwers can hang with some of the best in the first couple steps, of the sprint, especially a long jump. My old roommate, Jeff Henderson, Olympic champion, we used to joke about the long jump because standing long, we could kind of go back and forth with. But of course, when you give Jeff speed, and he was the definition of speed, it wasn't even a chance. So us throwers, we got the explosiveness, but we only got about 1 or 2 steps. After that, we'll just watch you guys keep going.
And Rajindra was talking about the history that's hopefully starting to build in the field events and in men's shot put in particular from the Jamaican side. But for you, Joe, the history of shot put in the USA. You know, you're going back to Toth, Nelson and Godina, who took the top 3 spots at Pre-Classic back in 2002. That history, there's only ever been one non-US winner in the men's shot at Pre-Classic. So it's the kind of diametric opposites, isn't it, in terms of the history for you, Joe? Do you feel that when you throw at Hayward and at Pre-Classic?
I think especially for us, always timing the year too, especially when pre is, it is actually like a preview of our, you know, U.S. championships that we're kind of coming back here for a month. So I think everybody feels that weight of like, you better turn the gear overs now because you don't got that much time because we're coming back here. But I think the history of it, you know, I always say it's Reese's fault, it's Christian's fault, it's Adam's fault, because the level that they put the sport at, you had to attain and surpass to keep it going. This meet used to be famous for putting a 70-foot line, which is 22.32 or 21.32, because this had the most 70-foot throws in history. Now, like nobody cares about 70 feet anymore because it's not that far relative to how we're throwing, but that used to be a big metric. Like, you better not go to pre and not add a throw to that list. And I think now maybe at 22 is a mark. I think 23 is probably, I think there's more 23s here than any other meet, but it's that history of trying to add to that bucket of the past and kind of respecting what they did to kind of raise the sport. And you realize that the sport's like a big tidal wave, and you might be at the tip of it now, but there's a lot more coming behind it.
Well, you closed the meet, didn't you, with your competition last year with that 23-13 meet record, didn't you?
Yeah, I had 2 23s last year at this meet.
You've never thrown under 22 meters at pre.
Really? I don't know.
Legend.
Is that true? Yeah. That's true.
When you've won it, you've never.
I've never won it. Yeah,
you've never won it below 22.
I feel like it would be almost impossible to think it could be won under 22 at this moment. Yeah, for sure.
You've edged forward on your seat there, Leonardo, when I mentioned there's only ever been one non-US winner of this event. You ready? Are you and Rajindra ready to kind of put a second little stat in there?
It's not going to be easy. I think I have to throw in my season best, but I feel ready for that. So hopefully we can see a bigger one.
Who was it? I gotta know. Is it Tom or?
No, keep going. 2019.
19.
Romani.
Oh, Romani.
Yeah.
That was at Stanford. Okay, that's why I'm like trying to think about here.
Yeah,
that was at
1
Stanford.
year it's not been here, right?
Yeah.
And
So the Hayward Magic, it wasn't the Hayward
Yeah,
Magic.
there you go.
The Hayward
You see?
Magic stays with the U.S. So.
100%.
Yeah.
I like you talking
Yeah.
there, yeah. It's always stayed in the US when it's been here. Yeah, exactly. And just finally, before we wrap up, we talk about historic Hayward Field. We talk about the Hayward Field now and the beautiful stadium. Tell us briefly, each of you, Rajindra, start with your visit here last year. What's the circle like? Do you like the throwing circle here? And if so, what is it about it that you like as a thrower?
Definitely one of the better circles in the world, to be honest.
Why? Why'd you say that?
It's fast. It's fast enough but slow at the same time that give you enough time to set up what you need to. You can feel the contact on the ground as you go. A lot of rings, you can, for example, Paris, you guys saw the finals. It got wet and it got slick immediately. There was no contact. It was
Really?
pray for the hills. It was like, let's hope to God that you get it right. But here, you can feel that it was built with all the conditions in mind. So it's a very good circle.
Joe, you've thrown in so many circles across your career. Tell me about this one.
It's hard to beat old Hayward's OG ring because that's the ring that everybody threw so far in. But now I think with the new Hayward rings, at first when they were first poured, I'm sure you guys in the media remember there was lots of controversy over the rings because they were so slick and they were so fast and people got hurt in NCAAs here. And now the grounds crew, the new coach, they did some acid washing, they did some maintenance, and like honestly, since they did that, I mean, I'm sure he might agree with me. This is probably one of the best rings in the world for us. And I know you guys might, especially the track backgrounds, you're like, what makes a good ring? And kind of to piggyback off, he said, like, we want to move fast, as I told you guys, but you got to have traction to move fast. But then there's that point of so much traction that, well, it's slowing you down. So you got to have enough that you can push and trust, but you got to have not too much where it's not going to slow you down and you're going to pay for it. So right now, this ring is probably the gold standard. If we could copy and paste them for all around the world, all of us would be pretty darn happy with that.
You know, I agree with them. I have to say this ring is the best ring I've ever thrown in my life because it's fast but it's grippy. And it's important to have some grip for a good proportion with the left foot. So I would say it's the best in the world.
It's the best one, but is it your favourite one, Leonardo? Because surely that ring in Rome last year when you won the European title in front of your home fans.
No, that ring was probably the worst.
Really?
That ring was. I don't like Rome Circus, but I had to
No
say
one's listening. You're
competition was good because the vibe was good from the stand, but this ring is special.
Well, the ring's good. The lineup's always good at pre-classic in the men's shot, and we're looking forward to it. 5-2 tomorrow afternoon, all right? You bring your magic.
We'll do it. Hayward Magic. We'll keep that, hopefully
All
that streak going.
Let's get that
Hope
group
to break
photo
that streak.
before you go
Thank you,
on.
guys.
Well done, guys.
Thank you.
Move on to right on schedule so far as we move into our third of 6. Are you being difficult? All right, as many of you know, the 50th edition of Prefontaine will also include some of the greatest athletes in the world in parasport, and a trio of them here to represent that group is coming to the stage now. We'll get them settled here, and then I'll do formal introductions. Those of us who grew up in Eugene can remember Craig Blanchette being one of the early wheelchair athletes to get involved in Prefontaine as well, so long-standing heritage in supporting para-athletics here. And today, I'll start near side and go all the way to the end. Our winner from last year, right, Oria Comerford from Ireland. She was the bronze Paralympic T13 100 meter bronze medalist in Paris last summer. Welcome back to Eugene. No, Malone had to wait a little bit, but he finally is the Paralympic champion, that 100 meters that you got yourself on the top of the podium in Paris as well. And we'll talk also about your collegiate days at Indiana State. And trailing spouse, what do I officially call you? Tara's going to be here later. I just want to do.
Yeah, I usually go by Tara's husband.
Okay.
That works,
Is that,
yeah. It's my
but
best
you're still
accolade.
a Paralympic gold medalist and an American record holder. I mean, where does that fit in the pantheon of?
It can be one, so I guess let's start 2, 3, and down.
Yeah, well, the good news is you're adding to the list,
Yeah,
right?
exactly,
So
yeah, my resume's getting bigger.
we will welcome all three of you here, and again, just the excitement of having you all here. And Orla, we'll start with you. I mean, you were racing in Oslo just a week or so ago and running at really your best right now, and now you come to this stage and a little familiarity with the Hayward Magic. What are you expecting from yourself tomorrow?
Yeah, look, first of all, I'm so delighted to be here. So thanks to everyone for having me back, and it's great to be here. And like you said, to have that familiarity, to have been here, to have run on that magic, stage last year, and the season's been going really well. So I'm really hoping for something special tomorrow. I feel good. I feel fresh. Pre is set up for us to do our best. So really looking forward to putting my best foot out there tomorrow. Yeah.
And if I'm reading the record books right, you're about within a tenth now of the world record in your classification, and you ran that 11:87 into a headwind. So, are you feeling like you're in a position to maybe do some record breaking?
Absolutely, that's the aim. Do you know? I think it was the goal last year, and I fell short of it, unfortunately. But it's something that fuels me. It's something that pushes me on in training. It's something that's always in the back of my mind. And as you get closer into the season, it comes towards the front of the mind. And so, I'm definitely looking towards that and hoping to hit those times.
Yeah. No, I mean, one of the important things that part of you all being here is also to educate the crowd, because learning about the classifications and athletes having, different circumstances and putting them into different classifications can be very complicated. And it's important people to know that, Orla could be in a race with multiple classifications, break her world record, but not necessarily be across the line first. So as you maybe start to educate the fan base here, what are the most important things they need to understand about understanding your sport?
Yeah, that's a good point, because for a lot of people, in the Hayward crowd tomorrow, it's their first time seeing a para race in person, sometimes even a para race at all. So I think like the education behind what the different classes are, the disabilities, and the fact we can all still compete together is pretty important, because we're not just out there to earn a clap when we when we cross the line. I think it's really about just the fact that we are all top elite athletes in our own respective classes, of course, but when we get online, we're always competing just like anybody else. So I think that's the important part.
And important people to understand that it is a world championship year for you, so you've got big stakes coming up here later on. So just describe where you are in your training and preparation for getting ready for that global step.
Yeah, training's going well. Training in Chula Vista, so that's always a fun place to train. But our nationals is right here in Eugene, about 3 weeks from now, actually. So I think this is going to be a good prep for us to fill out the track, the crowd, just so we can get those pre-race jitters out, I'd say, when we're really trying to make a team, about 3 weeks, late July, early August. So it's going to be exciting. Our World Championships is in New Delhi, India. So long journey, but I think it's fun. It's always, when you're stepping on line to compete for a global medal, it's always, you got to take it serious. So it's always going to be a big deal. So no matter where it is, what time of the year, what year, after the games year from last year, you always got to lock back in and take care of business.
Yeah, education for some who are in the room may not be following it, and certainly for our global audience, is that the USA Track and Field Federation has now joined with the U.S. Paralympic Track and Field Association, so combined organization. Hunter, you sort of are now on the same team. You don't have to plan for two different trips to two different trials. I know you and Tara were, as you often are, online, just being excited about something, in this case the chance to compete in the same place at the same time. How important is it overall for what your sport is trying to do to gain visibility now to have this shared stage coming up in 3 weeks?
I think it's super important. I think one of the biggest things that's happening in our sport that's really changing in a positive way is like the storytelling of the sport. And it's introducing, you know, the audience to the stories of these athletes and the struggles and the trials. And we're coming out with documentaries like Sprint. It's like all of these things are to give you a better look into these athletes' lives. And I think the great thing about the Paralympics is the stories that come along with it, the hardships that people have to fight through, like just to get to the line, you know what I mean? Like it's not necessarily the same where it's all physical, but sometimes it's like it's just how difficult it is to get out of bed or do normal daily tasks and then just still be doing all the training that it takes to be an elite athlete. So I feel like it opens up, you know, a lot of opportunities for people, and I feel, you know, very blessed and grateful to kind of be on the forefront of seeing this change in our sport. And I'm excited to see how it goes in Hayward. Last time I ran in Hayward, you know, was during NCAAs, and I felt like maybe I didn't belong there, you know what I mean? Because that wasn't really my place. And now I feel like we have a spot, you know what I mean? Like somebody's fighting for us and saying, hey, you belong here, and that feels really good.
Yeah, 2018 NCAA championships, I believe. Sixth in the 4x4 for Arkansas that year?
Yeah.
All right.
Running
Competitive.
fast, man. I think we ran 3:02 and took 6th. That's crazy.
Got to run fast to run well at Hayward, right? Well, I mean, I think that, and I, you know, was very fortunate to be involved in NBC's coverage last year, both of the trials in Miramar and then onto the stage in Paris. And I think just once you kind of get involved in the sport and have a chance to have that interaction with folks, you appreciate just, you know, everyone has a journey and a story to tell. For this particular event, Hunter, I mean, you were just a few months ago going to see your dad and then ending up in a hospital getting your own bit of medical attention. How are you in terms of training and preparation for the race tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm in a great spot.
Do you want to at least tell people the story if they haven't heard what happened?
Yeah, well, my dad had open heart surgery, so I went out to Utah to visit him, and the first day I got there, I was like having some really bad abdominal pain. And like I never go to the hospital, but I was like, man, I'll just like sleep it off. I didn't sleep at all. Woke up the next morning. I was like, man, I'm still hurting. I was like, Mom, can you just take me to the hospital? And they're like, yeah, your appendix is literally about to burst right now. So they just put me in a hospital room, did the surgery, took it out, and that was that. So honestly, it wasn't too big a deal because my dad just had open heart surgery. So I was like, I didn't really got that much to complain about. Tara thought I was literally dying, so she flew out the next day. So it was good, honestly. I got to spend time with my dad, just sitting in the Lazy Boys together. And that's one really great thing about this season is it's such a long season. Like, we don't compete till end of September for World Champs. So it feels like kind of no pressure at all as far as where we're at in our training cycle. And I feel like right now specifically I'm just starting to get into the routine of everything, starting to run really fast, having great practices. So I feel like everything happens when it's supposed to happen, and I'm excited to race tomorrow.
Orla, terrible timing for me, trying to get as much information about your background as I could. But this morning, the podcast dropped that you had just recently done, where you, and I hadn't had a chance to listen to it because I had to register, and it was way too much of a pain to do it in time for this. But apparently the headline talked about the role that art plays in your life. Could you just talk a little bit about that and give us a teaser so we'll all go listen to that podcast?
Yeah, so I studied fine art media in college. I think that was the big thing for me, that people kind of say, oh, like, you know, if you want to follow a career in sport, you kind of have to get into a college and get into the collegiate system and pursue your athletic career that way. But I was really passionate about art. It was always something that meant a lot to me and brought me great comfort. And I think I've always been so blessed to have two passions in my life. I have the passion of running and of my sport, but of art as well. And I think, to be honest, it's been a huge tool for me in my sport. It's been something that helps me remember to be present in practice, in training, because I think sometimes when you go into a season and you have a goal and you have something that you want to achieve and it's so far down the line, you can get caught up in it a bit, and you don't really, you don't find yourself present in what you're doing every day. You're not ticking the boxes every day. And so I think it's the same in art. When you try to make an art piece or you try to make a final work, it never works out. It's nothing good, you know? So I think with art, there's an element of experimentation. There's an element of going with something and seeing where it takes you, learning from successes and failures. And I think that's something that's really helped to inform how I train and how I approach my sport, because I'm definitely someone who can get caught up in where the goals are and where I'd like to go and where I'd like to be. And so for me, it's been a real learning lesson to be able to step back and be like, okay, if I want to be successful here, I have to learn from the successes and failures. I have to take the highs and lows. I have to be present in what I'm doing every day, because that's ultimately how I get the best out of myself. It's how I put my best foot forward. And so it's taken me a little bit of time to learn that, but I think one definitely informs the other, you know.
Noah, back to kind of the state of the sport in the U.S. and now being the home team for LA coming up in a few short years. I've also been struck by the investment that colleges are making in adaptive sport, and we just had the recent NCAA championships, wheelchair 100-meter championships. In fact, Hannah Dieterich, who I think is competing here this weekend, was the winner on the women's side. You ran in a collegiate program in Indiana. It just starts to feel like this country is beginning to say this is an important part of our sporting culture, and the colleges seem to have an important role in making sure that kids that you're inspiring are going to have a place to go to compete.
Yeah, it's definitely huge. I mean, so that was big in my decision to even commit to Indiana State coming from high school, because my sprint coach there at my school, his name is Coach Bertoli, he was so important in just my journey to be a para-athlete, because it's like, in Tokyo, so I committed in about 2019, and then 2 years later was Tokyo, and he was there. Like, he was on the plane, you know, in Tokyo. He was in Paris last year. Like, he was just there the whole ride as well. And you know, he's also like a collegiate coach, so it's like he's making time for both. And I think it really kind of set the standard. Just he's educating all the people and coaches he's meeting. I'm doing the same, and just every little thing counts, I think. And it's just like, the fact that we have opportunities to compete, D1 program with able-bodied athletes, I think goes a long way. Not just, you know, for the program, but just for us as athletes. It's like, well, we belong here, and it's like our confidence goes through the roof when we can not only just step on the line with other people, but we're also competing and winning races and winning medals and, you know, I guess contributing to our team's conference championship. It's like, we're not just there to take up a spot, like we're really competing. And I think that's the biggest thing for my confidence in my career is like late high school and throughout Indiana State. Like, we were really competing and running fast times. And when we come to the para side, it's like, all right, well, if I could compete with them, it's like I should be comfortable and compete well within myself with the para side. So it's just mentally, I think, is really good. And I think just to set the standard of education, let's just let people have opportunities. It's not just, you know, we're not just being nice, but like a lot of disabled athletes are really good at their sport, no matter who they're competing against. So I think it goes a long way, and it's still lots of like a long way to go, but I think we've came a long way too in the past like 5 years, I'd say.
And Hunter, you have obviously such a big platform, maybe one of the biggest in your sport, and you know, signed on with a new sponsor this year. I believe they're involved in this meet in some way, shape, or form. But as you thought about the opportunities for that platform, and as it leads to Los Angeles, what are your hopes for this next cycle, and where do you hope the sport will be in the United States by the time you're stepping on the track in the Coliseum in LA?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think my whole career, my whole entire life, I've just been fighting for an opportunity to compete. I've just been fighting for someone to allow me to run. And there's always these conversations of, oh, you're cheating, you're doing this, you're doing that. And I'm like, dude, I didn't ask for any of this. I did not put the situation. I just want to run. Just the same reason every single one of these people is here. Like, I just want to run. And for so long, there wasn't an opportunity for me to find a place to compete, so I had to make a place to compete, right? And that's why I ended up in the NCAA. That's why I ended up running at Indoor USA, is like, because I want to be a competitor, like Noah's saying. So my hope for what is happening in 2028 is that there is opportunities for people like me to compete. There's a place where they feel like they belong, and they feel like they can be a part of this sport, right? So that's really it. Like, if at that point there's kids like me and like Noah and like everybody up here that feel like they belong to this sport and they're not fighting for the respect of the sport, like, I feel like that's a really big win. And just in Paris, like, I had the opportunity and the blessing of being able to see the Olympics, the Paralympics. And it was awesome. We went to the Olympics. We saw it sold out, morning, evening sessions, crazy. And there's like this thought in the back of your head, like, oh man, like, I hope people show up for the Paralympics in the same way, right? And you're kind of like scared of like, maybe people just don't care because you hear all this chatter. And then we get to the Paralympics and same thing, like the energy's there, the excitement's there, the crowd is there. There's 80,000 people in the stands like cheering for these people, and it's like they don't care about the situation they're in, they care about the concept, which is these people are here to compete. And I love that. So if that continues through LA and that excitement grows, like that's a win for track and field, that's a win for parasport, that's a win for people. So that's where I'm at.
Well said, and a fitting way to end this part of the program. We thank you guys for being here. Thanks for all that you're doing for your sport, and we'll see them on the track tomorrow. A photo opportunity here in front before we move on to our next program.
There's two. Next event group, as what are we now? Less than 24 hours before our 50th pre-classic here at Hayward Field. And if you were going to do a women's sprint presser for any meeting in the world, I think it's the one we're going to introduce. 4 athletes. We are reuniting the Paris 100-meter Olympic podium, and we're also bringing in, from 1 lap and 10 hurdles, the greatest of all time. So let's bring forward Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, the Olympic Games bronze medalist in Paris. Looking superb. Yellow, lemon, either or. You can sit wherever you like. You get the first pick. And she goes to the left one. Let's bring in the Olympic champion, Julien Alfred from St. Lucia. Of course, St. Lucia's first ever Olympic gold medal winner, shutting down the streets of St. Lucia with national holidays left, right, and center. Sha'Carri Richardson, the world champion in 2023, Paris silver medalist, of course. Looking to get a back-to-back pre-classic win tomorrow over that 100-meter distance. And then, quite simply, the greatest of all time over the 400-meter hurdles, Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, running the 400-meter flat tomorrow. Probably don't even actually need to say anything. There we go, ladies and gentlemen, for all the greatest of all time. What a lineup. Wow. Welcome, one and all, to Pre-Classic. Welcome to the 50th anniversary. Let's start at the end and work our way down. Sydney, your first ever Pre-Classic. You're very familiar, of course, with Hayward Field, but your first Pre-Classic tomorrow over the 400-meter flat. Talk me through your plans, and should Sanya Richard-Ross, with her new third son, be watching in to see if it's going to go down? Is this US record going down tomorrow, Sydney?
Oh man, I mean, it's a great record.
Yep.
Sanya is an amazing athlete, so honestly just happy to be here, grateful for the opportunity to run it pre. Like you said, it's my first time. And just really hoping to go out there and execute. It looks like great weather. It's always a fast track and great competition, so just got to focus on myself and see what happens.
Because when you've ran the 4 flat here before, that 48.74 PR that you had, you're out of lane number 5 in 2023. Do we know the lane draw yet tomorrow for the women's 4? What lane do you have tomorrow? Is it 5? Is it a center lane, I presume?
I hope it's 5. I don't know. I've had some great races in 5, so I mean, we'll see what happens.
You've mixed it up this year, though, haven't you? If we look at what you've ran over, the 100-meter hurdles, the 400-meter hurdles, the 400 flat, have you enjoyed that variety and competing in that variety of events as much as we've enjoyed watching you over the 4 different events?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been fun to challenge myself in those kinds of ways and to kind of just make me a better all-around athlete. So putting myself in compromising positions that I wouldn't normally be in, I think has mentally and physically allowed me to become stronger in the events that I tend to do a bit more.
Kevin Saylors has just held up this, and I don't know whether he was waving at me or he's probably telling me that you're in lane 5. There we go. Well, welcome. It's absolutely lovely to have you here. Let's move from one Olympic champion to another. Julien Alfred. Okay, talk to me about the last few months of your life since you became St. Lucia's first ever Olympic gold medalist. Describe it in one word.
That's hard to do.
Just one.
It feels surreal, I will say that. It still feels surreal to me because whenever I get back on Ireland, just being celebrated by so many people and just seeing how appreciated and loved I am on Ireland, I think it still feels surreal to me.
Because you were second at the Pre-Classic last year, but you've won NCAA titles here at Hayward Field. Again, there's a lot of familiarity for all you guys within historic Hayward Field. What's it like to run in? I was a Nike athlete for a long, long time, and I never got the chance to run in Pre-Classic. Describe to me and us what it's like in that cauldron of Hayward Field.
You know, it's quite different for me. I won my first NCAA title here, but then later on, a few months after that, my first world championship by 4 started here as well. So, I mean, it's a love-hate relationship with Hayward Field, but I'm just looking forward to going out there tomorrow and just making it count and hoping for a better outcome. I would say that.
But you just kept that momentum going. You seem to have just kept it through all the way through from Paris. Are you pleased with where you're at now? That Stockholm run of 10.75, what pleased you the most about that time?
I just wasn't expecting it at the time. I mean, the day before, I had a mental breakdown because my coach and I have been working on a few things, and I just had to trust that. And I was a bit hard on myself going into the race, but the time really shot me just on my execution, and it just wasn't something that I was expecting at the time, just how the race felt in general. But I'm just looking forward to just working on the race one step at a time and just working on new things with my coach.
And when you have been in Europe, of course, it was well documented that you got to meet your hero.
Yes.
Look at the smile on your face, Julien, Usain Bolt. Just give us a little snippet of that conversation that you had. What was the first thing that you asked him?
Well, it was such an honor meeting him for sure. I mean, he's been my idol since I was a little girl. But just meeting him at first, I had so many questions I wanted to ask. I mean, just how he was able to, being from an island like Jamaica, a small island, and having to have his country on his back every single time, and now being from a smaller island like St. Lucia, I wanted to know how he was able to move on from one race to the next and, you know, have so many titles each time. And he was just saying it's just not taking every opportunity that you get and being able to still focus on what got you to that point, which is training and working hard.
What's the best piece of advice then? If you squash it all down, one more piece of advice that the greatest of all time gave you that you walked away and thought, I'm really glad that I approached him and was brave enough to do that?
Well, never forget what got you to that point, which is working hard and to just never be comfortable at all.
You kept that momentum going. Shikari, welcome back. Are we going to kickstart that season tomorrow, pre-classic, little back-to-back win over the 100?
I would say I'm just ready to come out here, execute, and do what it is that I know me and my coach have been training to do with this season starting.
Okay, of course, a little 11:47, one race under the belt. USA's coming up as well. What are you actually hoping for? Are you looking for a win or are you looking for a time tomorrow? If you had to pick one.
I am looking for a well-executed race. I definitely.
What does that involve, though, Shikari?
So that definitely involves me having a healthy race. I was staying an injury this year in February that completely set me back from the season, delaying my start of the season and just how I would normally execute. So if anything, my biggest thing is having a healthy race tomorrow. And with the healthy race, me being confident in me just knowing what I know I'm capable of doing, I know that I will produce what it is that I want.
And obviously the USA Trials coming up for three of you and defending that title as well, that world title in a delayed year. So are you quite pleased as an athlete that it is quite a longer season this year and you won't finish those world champs until the third weekend of September?
Definitely it's a blessing in disguise this year that the season is kind of longer. I definitely am honored to the fact that I am the reigning world champion in the 100 meters, so I'll be having a bye of the 100, but I definitely plan on competing in the 200 coming up for trials. And yeah, I'm definitely grateful for the long season, but I definitely know it's going to give me time to be ready when it all counts, and everything, and the only thing that matters is world championships.
And it's the little training group here, Melissa, on the end as well. A phenomenal season last year, that bronze medal in Paris. And again, you've just continued that momentum on, the 10:73 world lead in Philly. You're looking cool, you're looking calm.
Thank you.
How's life?
Life is great.
And what are you hoping for tomorrow outside of the pre-classic women's 100-meter win?
Really just to go out there and do what I've been doing, keeping the main thing, and that is to execute my race to the best of my ability. I feel like the one thing that has gotten me as far as I have this year is just taking it literally one day, one practice, one meet at a time, and focusing on every single part that gets me to where I want to be. So that's what I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
And I used to train in a group with other Olympic medalists, so I know how inspiring it is on a daily basis. I presume it's the same for you guys with Coach Dennis, in terms you want to be the best in your group, because if you're one of the best in your group, you end up being one of the best in the world, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I've been saying this since last year, you know, Carrie's up here with me, but not only that, we have TT Terry and Kayla White back there, so we bring the championship felt atmosphere to practice day in and day out, and I feel like we do a great job of bringing out the best in one another, and you know, tomorrow is just going to be no different than that. Sometimes it helps to have your training partners in the races with you, you know, that way it won't feel as intense as, you know, a regular race. So I'm definitely excited and looking forward to tomorrow.
And talking of US trials, Sydney, have you got a plan in place? We've talked about you mixing up the events this year. Is it a 400 meter hurdle double, or are you looking to do both as you're moving towards Tokyo, or?
You know, I think tomorrow will tell us a lot just about where we are and what we decide to do. But yeah, I think all options are open. That's what's exciting about it. And like, you know, I've said before, when I step on the track, it's focusing on that race in that moment. So we'll focus on the 400 and make decisions from there.
I'm going to let you guys take a group picture and then go and do your one-on-ones because it's such an amazing panel. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow we have the women's 100 meters and, of course, the women's 4 as well. Picture time. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Stop on this 6 rounds of visits from some of our athletes competing tomorrow. And as you know, this is the group that is now going to close the show at Hayward Field, and why not? It is just going to be a remarkable day of competition, but this women's 1500 is setting up to be historic again, and one of the storylines and narratives around the competition throughout the day tomorrow is kind of bringing back the podium from Paris, and we have the Paris podium here in full display in this women's 1500 meters, and we'll bring up first in sort of reverse order. We'll start with the bronze medalist. Georgia Hunter Bell is here. Your choice of seat. It's not a podium. Silver medalist making a return, another former member of the University of Oregon middle distance squad, as the silver medalist from Paris, Jess Hull. And this last young woman has kind of been in the news. I went all the way to Paris, and all I got was this really well-made T-shirt for being part of the broadcast coverage of what was just fabulous, and we'll ask Georgia about it as well. She took part in it, the Breaking 4 last week in Paris. Two great memories from my walk through the streets of Paris a week ago today. One was just being able to see the Olympic City not in an Olympic time of year, because it's always good to see a city without it being sort of Olympified, if that's making up a word. And the other was getting a text as I was walking beneath the Eiffel Tower from my youngest daughter, who said, "Dad, you were blowing up my TikTok right now," which was like a huge bit of street cred for a dad to have. And it was really a reflection of how amazing a job it was to take that Breaking 4 and really reaching and touching a whole different group of fans that hopefully will be tuning in tomorrow around the world. But Faith Kipyegon is here to join us as well. Faith Kipyegon, our 3-time Olympic gold medalist, making her 10th appearance here at the Prefontaine Classic. And welcome, welcome. You like my T-shirt? I really like my T-shirt. You know, you've had a week now to reflect, and it's been a long journey back here to the U.S. Just what are your thoughts now with a few days removed from that experience at Charlotte, and what can you share about just the whole experience of Breaking 4?
The experience was really nice. Actually, that was tough, to be honest. But I'm so grateful to Nike for giving me opportunity to dare and try to be the first woman to run under 4 minutes in the mile. And I've learned a lot from that race. That was tough. I'm still trying to recover from it. But I hope tomorrow will be really good. And I hope for night race tomorrow. Happy to be back here in Pre. Happy to be back in Diamond League Socket. So I'm really grateful.
For those who didn't watch the live, and there will be a second episode of the documentary coming up later in July, but I thought one of my favorite moments was watching the highlight of you walking into the stadium the day before, and I could just see in your face gratitude, but also the stage and the opportunity. I mean, how nervous were you? There was a lot of spotlight on you, but you've had a lot of spotlight in your life.
Oh yeah, it was. You know, to go out there in Paris and you're like, you know, the whole world is waiting for you, and you are out there on the track and you can just see yourself, your name is there, your picture is there. You think of how many people, how many young women out there are looking up to you, how many young girls, how many young boys are you looking up to you, that Faith is going for a historical event. So it was really tough, but I thank God I managed to, you know, hold myself and just wait for the event. So it was really nice.
Georgia, you had 750 meters to enjoy that experience as well. What did you take away from the whole event?
It was just really historic. Just felt really different to all the races that you do. We obviously had the whole week to prepare in Paris with Faith, which was really fun. It was a really good team that we got together. Yeah, I think my favorite bit was just before the race started, when we were just doing our strides, like next to Faith, just kind of getting excited to go to battle for her. So it was just a really fun experience.
And what do you hope the message sent, not only just to fans of Faith and fans of the sport, but, you know, it was a real opportunity to give the rest of the world a chance to understand just kind of how special the athletes are in our sport.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had so many friends who aren't really into running that were messaging me asking about it, and then they were like, oh my God, you're pacing. I didn't realize. But they just heard about the event, which I think is cool. So it's just getting more people talking about running. And yeah, I think hopefully it would just mean that more people are tuning in and can build that fandom within our sport.
And Jess, I know you were asked about it, and you were saying, you'd hop on a plane to help out, but you had a chance to just kind of experience it as a spectator. What did you think of it all?
Yeah, I think it was just an incredible honor to Faith as well to attempt something like this. But I think she's been such a pillar of our event and led the way for so long and inspired us to improve as well. It was just really special to see her have the opportunity to inspire the world beyond just the women's 1500, the women's milers that have really looked up to her. Now people outside of the sport will look up to Faith, and yeah, she got the recognition that she absolutely deserves.
A lot of love in the room. I like it. You guys are going to get competitive eventually, right, when you toe the line at the track. Jess, I asked Cole Hocker earlier in the day about this. He'll be on the track. Former Oregon Duck gets introduced as the reigning Olympic champion in his collegiate stadium. You'll have a similar honor to be recognized as an Olympic silver medalist, a world record holder in your own right at 2,000 meters. It is like coming home for you, isn't it?
Oh, certainly. I think I've been in Eugene for a week now just to get some sea level off the back of my altitude camp, and it's always special to come home. I had a moment on a run where I realized that would happen at Hayward this coming weekend, and it's just really special. And I think the Hayward fan and the Hayward faithful probably doesn't realize how much of an impact they've had in my career. Like, I came to college here dreaming of being an Olympian, and the excellence that I was surrounded by once I got here kind of fuels that further goal of not just try and be an Olympian, like let's try and be a medalist, like let's try and like raise that bar even further. So yeah, I'm excited to go back to Hayward with some new accolades to my name, and I hope that my performance can say thank you to the crowd that's kind of just like challenged me to dream bigger too.
And what's the thing you have to do when you come back to Eugene? Is it Prince Puckler's? Is it pizza? Is it a coffee shop? But how do you get back into a Eugene vibe?
It's Pre's Trail, to be honest. Yeah, that's pretty cliche, but definitely when you get out on the trail out there, it just feels like I'd hate to think of how many miles I've run out there, but yeah, once you get out on Pre's, that's when you really feel like you're at home.
Yeah. You competed here in college, competed in what was at the time the Pac-12, where all the teams were competing. 2017, you were running the 1,500 meters. On the other end at Cal, running the 800 meters that time was Georgia. Georgia, what do you remember about those races in the historic venue? And would you believe, if you had an opportunity to have a conversation with the 2017 you, that you'd be coming here tomorrow to race on this stage, last event of the 50th Pre-Classic?
No, definitely not. I'm very grateful for my college experience. I know it's such a privilege to be able to go to college on a scholarship like that. But sadly, my college experience with running was not the best, and I definitely thought I would never run on a track again when I graduated. So being able to come back, like even doing this race last year, it was that week I just quit my job and I was like, I really want to try and make the Olympics. Like, I really think I can do it. And so even just coming back a year later and seeing how much has changed is really special. And yeah, that 2017 Georgia would not believe that, no way.
Yeah, I think we've all generally been worried about cybersecurity since you left your job, but it also has meant a great deal to you, I think, to be able to, kind of professionalize yourself. Can you just describe, obviously you're filling the time with other things, but how big a difference has that made for you this year? Because you talked so eloquently how important it was going to be able to step away from that job and focus on running full time.
I think pretty much from the day I stopped working, my performances just were able to increase. And this time last year, this meet, I was able to run the Olympic qualifying time for the first time. And then every race after that was just improving and improving. And I think, yeah, it was just because I was no longer having to wake up at 5 a.m. to train before work, and actually able to just recover and do everything that you need to do as a full-time professional. And yeah, I'm a year in, but I'm still just, it's such a novelty to me, and I'm just still loving the life so much.
And Faith, does it feel like a job to you?
Sorry?
Does this feel like a job to you, or can you treat it more as, that original love of running that got you all the way here?
I would say, to be honest.
Well, no, lie to us if it's a better answer, right?
Yeah, this is a job for me. This is my office. This is what I do every time. Since I was 16 years, now I have like long time in my career. So I took it as my profession, and yeah, it has been. Yeah, so yeah.
Well, and your office, your goal is always to get out of the office earlier than the last time you were in the office. And the pacing set up tomorrow to be about where you were at last week at Charlotte, at about 1,500 meters in about 3:48, which would be faster than you've ever gotten out of the office before. Just tell us about trying to attack these records, and why a week after what you tried do you feel you could do it again?
You know, as I said last time when I was running the mile, I crossed the 1,500 with a very fast split, and I got like a hope that there's still a room of improvement, like running faster than 3:49. But I wouldn't say that will come tomorrow. Tomorrow is just to be back to Diamond League circuit, and this is my second Diamond League of the season. This is my first 1,500 of the season. So the time after the finish line, if I will see any time, it will be my season best. So.
And Jess, you've enjoyed seeing her run fast in front of you because it's carried you to probably places you didn't necessarily think you could get to. Runner-up last year, and the time that you ran to finish second here, you had to run faster in the semifinal in Paris just to make the final, and then the 350 in the final. What does running and chasing, in some cases, Faith, and how has that played a role in just you recalibrating your own what's possible?
Yeah, I think we've watched Faith recalibrate our whole event for so long now, and it was kind of, she threw the gauntlet down, like, if you guys want to catch up, like, you're going to have to go very fast. So I think she's just kind of rewired my mindset of, like, how fast we can go. Why not try? Like, you can just sort of challenge yourself in different ways and don't put a limit on it. And that's kind of what I got the opportunity to do in Paris last year was I got the best seat in the house to watch the world record.
What's pacing for you?
I got to watch the world record from about 10 meters, 15 meters back. But yeah, it's been pretty incredible. I think even going back to Florence the year before when Faith ran 3:49 for the first time, it was just that night I was sort of like right behind Laura Muir, but it's just been very special to sort of see the level that you've taken it to, and then kind of like the level that it's encouraged us to rise to. And I think it's very unique to our event to have been pulled along by the woman at the top and been encouraged along the way. Like, I don't know if you remember, but in Florence, you broke the world record, and I saw you back at the hotel right afterwards, and before I could congratulate you, like after the whole finish line, you congratulated me on an Australian record, and it was so minuscule compared to what you had done. But it's a moment that, like, I'll remember, is you don't often have someone leading the event and also taking note of the improvement of their competitors behind them. Yeah.
Thank you.
Back of that, obviously Faith is at the front pulling everyone through, but kind of Jess also recalibrated the event in Paris Diamond League last year because she was the first, well, it was the first time I've seen someone try and hang on to Faith like that, and that kind of made everyone else in the field be like, oh my God, like Jess went for it, and like she did such a good time, and so it kind of made us all think like, should we try and start going for it as well? And obviously that's just made the whole field even quicker. So yeah, thank you very much to you guys for making us fast.
Yeah, and there's a difference.
I feel like we should all hug afterwards or something like this. It's just, but ultimately, I think that's what we all appreciate about what we're witnessing here. Is we are living in an era where we're seeing the greatest of all time do what she does. She's raising all boats and propelling all of you to greatness, and there's just a genuine appreciation beyond the competitiveness that you all appreciate that spirit as well. So on behalf of all of us, thank you for what you guys do. 6 wins in a row for Faith in this distance. It'll be her 10th appearance here. No guarantee she'll be at the line first. That's why you have to buy a ticket and come watch the show. But fitting that given what we experienced last week in Paris, we can bring some of that magic and dabble a little Hayward magic in and see what happens tomorrow. So thanks for all 3 of you for being here. We're going to have you stand for a photo op and then on to our next panel. Thank you.
Okay, let's get our last event group up onto the stalls and have a little chit-chat. It's the women's jumps, but we're delighted to be bringing you all, once again, all 3 medalists from the Paris Olympic Games last year in the women's long jump. Okie dokie, Jasmine Moore, no, come. Come, Jasmine, jump in. Double medalist, of course, in Paris last year, Jasmine Moore in the triple jump and the long jump. Malaika Mihambo of Germany, the Olympic champion in Tokyo, and a silver medalist last year in Paris. And in exactly the same end seat as her husband, Tara Davis-Woodhall, the Olympic champion in Paris. Welcome to Pre-Classic, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for waiting so patiently. So we're reuniting you all from Paris last year, and they've all got a smile on your face. We'll start at the far end. Tara Davis-Woodhall.
Hi.
Olympic champion.
Boom. And what?
When people say that, and you'll know this, right? Because, you know, it's a kind of, what does it make you feel?
That's a good question. Unstoppable. I feel like I can accomplish anything in the world as an Olympic champion.
How's life been?
Booming. I mean, business is booming. I'm booming. It's been incredible. I feel so blessed to be in the positions I'm in, and being able to put track and field on the map, especially long jump. I feel us ladies in our sport are working so hard to just be in the spotlight for any moment, and yeah, it's awesome.
And performance-wise, over 7 meters, of course, in Stockholm as well. So performance-wise for the season heading towards obviously tomorrow and the World Championships later in the year, you're jumping in a good place as well. You're one of so many athletes at Pre-Classic tomorrow that's just continuing that trajectory on.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like my training has just multiplied. I feel once I got, the Olympic gold medal, that's been my dream since a young girl. And once you have that medal, I feel like the pressure is off. You can do anything you inspire to do. And now I can just go out there and see how far I can jump, see how far my body can take me. With the help of my coach, Travis Geffert, and my support staff, it's I want to see how far a woman can jump in the long jump.
How far do you think you can jump?
8 meters. I'm just kidding.
If you put your boots on and
I'm
one of
just
your
kidding.
hats.
I'm just kidding. Everyone literally just pooped their pants for a second. No, I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully, the world record and eventually one day. And I feel like technology is coming and technology is behind in long jump. And I want to be the person to change the sport for long jump, along with the help of these women who've jumped 7 meters. I feel like 7 meters is going to become the new norm. And I feel like it's fair to say that we should all be jumping over 7 meters with the speed that we bring, the power that we all have. Yeah. And the shoe technology. I mean, it's going crazy with those shoes. So we should do something about it for the long jump and triple jump, please.
Malaika, you can obviously relate a lot to what Tara was saying. Olympic gold, of course, in Tokyo, over 7 meters yourself. The world champion here, of course, in Eugene in 2022. And you were smiling along there with a lot of what Tara was saying. Women's long jumping is in such a good, healthy place.
It is indeed, yeah. Well, for me, it's, similar. I'm so happy of what I reached so far, hoping for, to reach even more and see how far I can jump. That's what is driving me every day, yeah.
When you won the world title here in 2022, or when you guys go back to any arena or venue where you've had such success and such good memories, it must just be a little bit extra special for you to come back and rewind in your memory. This is a good place for me. What's the initial thing you think about when you come to Hayward Field, Malaika?
Yeah, well, for sure, I have very good memories about that. But every competition is new. So, yeah, in that moment, it means like forget about the past, create the future. So I'm here to create the future for another competition in Eugene.
And you have a history, Malaika, of every single competition you normally jump, you just get better and better. 684 at the European Team Champs recently as well. Because what are you looking for tomorrow? What's going to be success for you when you fly back to Europe at the end of Pre-Classic tomorrow?
Success would mean for me just put my potential on the track and, yeah, have valid attempts while showing it.
And talk to us about the runway. We spoke to the pole vault guys yesterday. We spoke to the shot putters earlier about the circle. What do you like about the runway here at Hayward Field? What's good about it that gets these good distances?
Well, I mean, I cannot say much about the track because I think it's within us. So I'm more always thinking, what I did was good or not good. So I rather focus on myself than just claim it was the track. I don't claim it for me being for losing or doing a bad job.
But is it
but
a good
also
runway?
not very good.
Is it a fast runway? I suppose the question is it a fast runway?
Yes, it's a good runway. The board's
think
great.
you maybe
I got you, girl.
jumped over like more often than me because I just jumped for World Championships.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the first time I was in Eugene and the only one after it. So
And it
I
went
don't
well.
have that
It went
much
well.
to say about it. But go on, tell us about the track.
I think the runway's really good. I think the board is really well, put together, and where it's located on the finish line, the backstretch, where all the fans are. I like to, clap up the crowd. So they get really into it, and great runway.
And for you, Jasmine, double Olympic medalist, of course, in Paris, doing that double in the long jump and the triple jump as well. Love that. Is that the plan for the whole of the season now, moving forward to keep that double going with both of the jumps?
Yes, I'll be competing at USA's in both, and the goal is to qualify for Tokyo in both.
And you've done both throughout the season so far. You triple jumped in Oslo, and then you long jumped in Stockholm. If you had to pick one, which is your favorite? Which do you like more of the two events?
I think triple jump's more fun. Whenever you put it together, it feels effortless. And so I enjoy triple jump, but whenever one's going well, normally the other one is. So, but they're both a lot of fun, and I love the competition in the long jump.
And you have history here, of course. We spoke to a few athletes over the last couple of days, of athletes that have a good history at Hayward Field with the NCAA titles and stuff as well. So what's so special about Hayward Field? We always talk about the magic of Hayward Field, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I won NCAA titles individually and as a team, so I have a lot of great memories here, making the Olympic teams here. Just the crowd, the fact that they know track and they have a lot of knowledge on it. It's special. Yeah, we normally have big competitions here, so I enjoy being here.
And there's something else that's here as well, isn't there, Tara, that's traveled with you? Felipe!
He's not here in the room right now.
That don't know, Felipe.
Felipe is my gold medal. I do not leave anywhere without him, them, they, her, anything you want it to be called. I feel like my medal is something so sacred to me, and I want Felipe to see the world just like I'm seeing the world. That's it.
Well, we're very much looking forward to it tomorrow. Good luck to you all. Ladies and gentlemen, that was our last event group of our pre-classic super lineup tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ladies. Shall I have a photograph, please? There we go. Get the usual photograph.